Hey guys, welcome to the analysis for March 19th. It is a Tuesday. It's about 4:10 p.m. here, so we're getting pretty close to these daily bars closing. Yesterday we talked about how the market was kind of coming into some areas, potentially setting up, and so today we got to see a little bit of the follow through from that. Some of the pairs still hanging around those levels, like the market likes to do. You can see the euro still kind of hanging down there, but some of them might pretty nice moves that could be great potential setup. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. I think it'll be a really good analysis that will hopefully set us up with some great trades for the rest of the week. Alright guys, so before we get into that, we'll cover our news, run through our terms, and then we'll get right back into these charts. Alright guys, so when you look at the news calendar for tomorrow, you see there's a decent amount of news. FOMC stuff coming out tomorrow for US dollar, so certainly want to pay attention to that. That's a little bit in the afternoon there, 2 p.m. Eastern. Now as far as morning news, we have pound news coming in at 5:30 a.m. and pound news coming in at 8:30 a.m. So the morning is going to be a lot of red tag pound stuff. Certainly could shake up that currency. And then a little bit later at 10:30 a.m. we see some lighter US dollar news. Then at 2 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. is where the heavy US dollar news hits in. So a lot of different times there. You know, news coming out at 5, 6, 8:30, 10, 2, 5:45, and then you can see even later 9:45. So definitely a lot of different events and some interesting timing on the events. But the important thing to note is that there's news for a lot of these currencies, and it's important, especially if price is struggling at critical levels like it is in a lot of the pairs right now. You know, potentially the news is going to be what breaks it out of those areas, and so you want to pay attention to that. Alright guys, and then just to cover our terms real quickly, basically the idea here is that because of US regulations, we're not permitted to give investment advice. We want to stay clear of that and let you know that the daily analysis is just for educational purposes, and any decisions you make to trade or whatever you do with your money is totally up to you. Alright. Alright guys, so euro dollar is the first thing we're looking at here. Again, coming back to sit right in that 128.90 area, which as you can see, it first started like it was going to try to break the whole way through this level today, then got rejected a little bit toward the end of the day. So to me, all the momentum is still very much to the bearish side. I think we could definitely get that break. If it happens, I'll be certainly inclined to take a short position here, trying to at least go into this next fib level. That would require me to get a relatively tight stop on it, so I don't have a stop all the way up here or something. I want a better risk to reward ratio than that. But either way, a trade could definitely be coming there. Just a matter of being a little more patient with this euro to see if it can break through yet another level on its way down. Okay, euro pound is the next pair I have up here. Kind of interesting setup here. We kind of had a test of the bottom here. Maybe not where I had this drawn, but if you drag this out to include the bottoms here, maybe you could consider this a test and a move down. So it depends on kind of what your perspective of the euro pound is, but potentially you could consider this a break and a retest and a possible continuation on euro pound. I'm not quite convinced on this yet. But I do think it has some possibilities. So what I'd wait for is perhaps on a lower time frame, the continuation through the bottom of this area, targeting some of the areas on the way down here. This is one right here from the recent low. You could talk about it going all the way down, maybe testing some of the areas down here. Has a lot of potential to the downside, but it's a matter of defining and clarifying an entry possibility on the euro pound. And again, right now I'm not quite convinced that it's there yet, but there's definitely some potential, and potential is what you have to start with, and then you see if price actually confirms that, which is what we'll get probably in the coming days. Okay, pound dollar is the next thing we have here. Again, not a very exciting pair right now. It's just kind of stalling out near 151. Couple different ways to look at it. Number one, you can look at it as it's just kind of building a slow base here as it's making its move up and has the potential to go higher. Also, you could look at it as this kind of still in this downward wedge type pattern here, where it's kind of expanding as it goes down and just trying to continue to build that. So that's a potential. And then of course the other way you can look at it is that we had a breakout of this recent move here, and what we need now is maybe a retest and then a move higher. So depending on exactly what happens with price in the near future, maybe that'll clarify what's going on there, and then we could have a very real potential either buying it up into this 152.70 area or selling it back into the 149 area. Either way, there's a little bit of room for a pound to move, so could be a potential trade. Right now, we just needed to break out of the mini little wedge that we have here, which you can probably see better on an hourly or even a 15-minute chart, once it breaks out of that, that'll provide some clarification as far as which direction it should be traded in. Okay, US yen, yet another pair that's stalling. As you know, when price is typically stalling, I don't have a lot of trade ideas, but it's just a matter of redefining what areas price can come into, like this one for instance, and waiting for the potential trade. So we have an area here that we could trade into. We have an area here that we could trade off of in the downward direction. So there's some possibilities there. It's just a matter of waiting for price to quit stalling and actually make a move. And I apologize that seems to be the mode across the market, but being patient in these situations is typically the only way to find good trades. Okay, odds struggling here around 104. Again, we talked about yesterday, there's some levels in the midst here. When the price is moving very choppy like this, it creates a lot of areas you have to deal with. Like when you draw a line, you can see that just because the prices move so choppy, there's areas like here and here and here where price is going to correspond with. Not because it's actually a major level, just because it's slow sideways movement, so there's a lot of stopping and stalling, which pretty much creates levels all over the place. And so it's not a surprise that we're seeing a little bit of struggling here. To me, it looks like it might just be setting up to continue this move up. One thing that we could do, again, just to kind of clarify what direction that's moving, is draw an arbitrary line, maybe at the bottom here, these 2 points that happens to be a little bit of an area there, and then just say, okay, if it breaks out of this area and continues that direction, then we can consider this an actual reversal potential back down into this area, rather than just a pullback and the continuation of the up move. Okay, so you can't really assume one direction or the other. You know, right now it looks like it's still trying to move up. There's only one bearish bar there, and you know, it's not really making a massive reversal. So what you got to do is just kind of try to clarify. You can't be exact. You know, there's no crystal ball, but you can say, okay, if it breaks through the bottom here and is showing consistency and trying to move down, then that might be a little higher probability that we're getting a reversal there, rather than just, you know, seeing a red bar and bailing on longs and taking shorts. Trying to maybe clarify using some lines or some rules as to what direction you think that price is going to go. If you're just, you know, just completely reactionary to every time price turns, you'll always be caught in the wrong direction because price is always turning back and forth. The best way to try to get on the right side of the market is to clearly identify some areas and then try to react when those areas are broken or bounced off. And still, often you're going to be wrong, but you set up, you know, trades with risk-reward ratios that are positive, and that way you only need to win a certain percentage, and you can be a profitable trader. All right, and speaking of directions and figuring out, you know, which area or which way price wants to go, the USD CAD has pretty much broken the idea that this thing is trying to head down into the 101 area that I was so much hoping it would go down to. I was looking short actually on the break here. Got in short. Fortunately, I got enough that I at least locked in break even and took the risk off the table before this move. But still not a great trade, as I was really hoping that price would continue and move into 101. And that's still a possibility. This could just be a retest, you know, into this area. Still a possibility this could go down, but it certainly looks like price is just you know, making a pullback and a reversion back into the upside. And this is a pretty, you know, powerful bar on the USD CAD, so looking like it at least wants to come up for another retest of this level, if not make that break, which also would not surprise me with, you know, a little bit of momentum. This is not a huge area. It's a longer term trend line, but it's not a major horizontal area that it has to break. So USD CAD looking pretty bullish now. You know, we had this run, some consolidation, some slowing down, pretty minor pullback into 102, and now looking like it does want to continue upwards. So looking bullish again. You know, it's one of those things that I just mentioned where you have to, you know, put some evidence together and see which direction it looks like the market wants to go. You're never going to just know, but you got to take, you know, a educated guess based on market levels and price action and momentum, and then look to you know, make a quality decision based on that, and only be right a certain percentage of the time. And that's just how trading works. Alright guys, so that's it for the analysis. I certainly hope it was helpful, and I hope that some of you are looking to get on the right side of the market in a lot of these setups. And if you guys have any feedback or comments, please feel free to leave those below the video. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.